Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Casey, where I'm going to try and get through with a raspy voice today. Got a little RFK working in my throat, so we'll see if I can get through this. Today, big show. There is a Titanic shift in the market, and I think everybody needs to know about it. It's going to affect buyers. It's going to affect sellers. It's the first time this has happened in 4.5 years. And I think that the realtors that are tuned into this and the buyers and sellers tuned into this, it's going to be a huge benefit. Okay, so let's get to what's happening. All right, so I'm going to go to what looks like a technical kind of chart, but we use this every day. And I'm going to switch you over to this. Okay, now what this is this tells me what the market conditions are at any 1 minute, right? So everything starts with 2 words. It seems like. I say, it seems like the market is soft. You do this chart and realize how soft it really is. It seems like we're doing contracts contingent on the sale of somebody's house for the first time in 4 years, 4.5 years. We haven't done that in 4.5 years, right? Because it's always been 5 contracts, 1 house. Nobody's ever going to be able to buy that house and with a contingent on sale of contract, right? So I'm looking at this, and in our huddle meeting, Billy says, well, I've had 3, and Morgan's had 2. And I'm like, we had 5 in 30 days. We've had 5 contracts that came in on ours. You were asking me, do I accept escalation clauses? And we certainly don't accept contracts that are contingent on the sale of somebody's home. We just did it 5 times. So something's going on, right? Something's going on. There's a swing in some markets, not all markets, but there is a swing in some markets that now the inventory is loaded up. They're not selling. The chart you're looking at tells me and my sellers and buyers that there is 12 houses that are active on the market, and in July, only 1 went under contract. 8% of the homes went under contract in this particular market that I'm looking at. Forget about, Vienna or plus 1.8 million. Everybody's got their own markets they work, whether it's Haymarket or Nokesville or Burke or whatever it is. You're looking at your market going, how many homes are on the market right now is active? How many went under contract in the last 30 days? Holy jeez. 1? 1 out of 12? The average days on market for us is 4 or 5 days. The average days on market is 52 days in this market. 52 days with an 8% success rate. Now, let's extrapolate that to what does all that mean? That means you're in an incredible buyer's market. An incredible buyer's market means what? Buyers have control of the market. So let's talk about an opportunity. So let me go to the next one, and this is the move-up market. Let's go to the regular market. Now, the regular market is different. They have 9 active homes on the market. 10 homes went under contract in the last 30 days. So what does that tell you? Sellers are in control at the smaller market. Well, if you can sell a house easy here, and the buyers are in control over here, then what does that mean? That means the person that's been sitting in the house that had to sell their house to move up and couldn't do it for 4.5 years can now do that. That's what you call a massive opportunity for buyers and sellers, especially when a buyer has a home to sell. Now, we're lucky. We're in a market where somebody comes in and goes, I got the cash, don't worry about it. I don't need to sell my house. I can carry my house and buy this house, don't worry about it. Well, that market is, let's say out of a market, that market is this big, right? The people that are actually like us that have to work for a living and actually have to sell what you have in order to buy what you want, right? That's this market. That's a massive market. Now, those people in this massive market had their only option. You got to sell the house, sell your house, and then when we'll get a 60-day rent back, and then you got to find another house. But the question is, if there's no inventory, how can I find another house? So how many realtors have clients? Sorry about that. How many realtors have clients that are in the predicament? I don't want to sell unless I know what I want to buy. But if I find something I want to buy, let's say I find my dream home. Is there any possible way you're going to buy that dream home with a home that you have to sell? No, I'm not taking that contract. I'm going to have, if that's a popular house, I'm going to have 6 contracts on it. And they're going to bid it up. It's going to be crazy lunatic, right? So there's no way you can buy this house if you've got a house to sell. So we've got a quandary as a real estate group. Our inventory is down 35% today. It's still down 35% from the 10-year average. Why is that? That group is frozen. Now, some may say they're frozen. The big buyer pool may be frozen because interest rates are crazy. They went to 7.5 or 8. They're not there anymore. They're down at about 6.75. They're down at 6.5. Now, let me take you this. I have a house that I could sell in May for $1.45 million. No ifs, ands, and buts. In fact, if I'm wrong, it's because I estimated too low. $1.45 million, okay? Today, it's going to go to 1.3. It's not selling at 1.35. I will guarantee you with all of the knowledge I have, that would have gone over $1.4 million, $4.5 million 2 months ago. Okay. So what's the discount on this house? In my opinion, at least $100,000, but possibly $150,000 less than it was before. Do you know what it costs to buy down an interest rate one point? Right? Maybe 2%, maybe 2%. So if your loan's $1 million, and I'm going to buy it down 2 points, that means it's going to cost me $20,000 to buy the rate from 6.5 to 5.5. So I could go get that house today at 5.5% interest rate and have a contingent on the sale of my home and still get it, even if you put 1.32, which means I chunk whatever the mortgage is going to cost me, chunk the $20,000 on top of it. I just got a house for $1.325. I saved $130,000. I bought it contingent on the sale of my house, and I couldn't have done that 60 days ago. Couldn't have done it 60 days ago. Now, I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time watching markets. And this is what I'm looking for. This is the opportunity you're looking for. This is the opportunity that buyers haven't had in 4.5 years. Since the pandemic and the inventory went bye-bye, this is the world that we've lived in. Again, not all. Johnny G comes up, he's in Haymarket. He goes, hey, we're putting a contract in on a house. Run one of those for Haymarket. All we're trying to do is get the seller and buyer to be realistic, okay? So let's say I run one for Johnny and I say, hey, Johnny, 8% of yours didn't go under contract last month. 67% of your houses went under contract last month. You are not in the same position as this market over here. Well, I don't want to show that to the seller. You don't show it to the seller. You show it to the buyer. You show it to the buyer. And he's trying to get a great deal. But what he doesn't realize is he's not in a great deal buyer pool market. He's in a seller's market trying to get a buyer deal. Education will set you free. So you need to educate. So if you look at it, it's a simple formula. Now, this looks pretty complicated, what I've got on the screen. But that's just the way we do it. I mean, I'm anal about making sure we know everything and all that stuff. But all you have to do is say, how many homes are active in the market I'm looking at? How many went under contract in the last 30 days? If 12 are on the market and 1 went under contract, 1 divided by 13 equals 8%. 8%. There you go. You're a buyer's market. If you look at it and the number of homes that went under contract are in the 60s or 50s, you're in a seller's market. You're not in a buyer's market. But I told Johnny, you go back to your buyer. Don't show this to the seller. We don't want the seller to know they have the power. Show this to the buyer and say, knock it off. It ain't 1.1, it's 1.15. Pay them what they're going to do. If you're going after a home that's in a popular market, in a seller's market, then you got to pay the price. So he went back, he shows it to the buyer, and he cuts the deal. So all we need to know is who's in control around here. Who's running this show? So when I go to a seller of a property in the $1.8 to $2 million range, I want blah, 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 blah. Dude, there's 12 houses on the market. One went under contract in the last 30 days, and their average days on market is 52, and more homes withdrew, 3, than sold. More homes withdrew than sold. And guess what? Guess what 52 average days on the market for all those listings means? There's going to be a lot of W's. There's a lot of C's, a lot of W's, and a lot of E's. A lot of expireds, a lot of cancels, a lot of withdrawals. It's coming. I mean, it's coming. In certain markets. Is it going to come to Johnny's market? No. 65% of their homes went under contract last month. You guys are solid as a rock. But in Vienna, in McLean, in some of these other markets, yeah. So you've got to identify the market. So what does this mean? My listeners, a lot of them are sellers. You have sons and daughters and friends and people that are living in a 2,000 square foot house that have had 2 kids since the pandemic. They got to sell that house to buy a bigger house. They need a house 3,500 square feet. They're killing themselves in this house, but they haven't been able to move up because they, for whatever reason, maybe they're risk averse. They don't want to sell A before they have B. They're in a quandary. What do? What's the alternative? What happens to a couple like that? What do? Nothing. They do nothing. Markets survive when money goes in motion. If everybody didn't buy stocks and there was no money in motion, the economy would collapse. If people all want to live in their house, the economy will collapse. Money in motion, people in motion make it. There are needs, right? There are needs for people that are moving up. There are needs for people that are moving down. There are needs. Right now, our market has basically survived on death, divorce, disaster, and downsizing. Disaster means I lost my job. I need to sell the house. It's going to go to foreclosure. Downsizing means I'm on the victory tour. I got my kids married off. I got them through college. I got them through high school. We did all we needed to do. Me and my wife, we're getting the hell out of here. We're going to go to South Carolina. We're going to Florida. We're going to party our ass. We're going out on top. They're the fun ones. We're going out on top, man. We're going to sell the big house. We're going to make all our money. We're going to sock it in the bank. We're going to rent for a little while. We may get a condo down at the Watergate downtown. We're on the victory tour. We're traveling and celebrating. They're the fun ones. Do you have people? Pandemic, too much. We've got too much togetherness. We're breaking up. We're getting a divorce. I don't know what the number is on divorce, but a lot of the sales are divorce sales. So that's what's been driving the market. But the power of the real estate market is the move-up buyers, because that's the big one. That's the big one. And I'm telling you, it's been frozen. And it's been frozen initially because nobody wants to move up because of interest rates. But nobody can also move up because they're stuck. They're stuck. They can't buy the new house because they got to sell the old house. They haven't been able to do that in freaking 4.5 years. I wouldn't even look at it. We wouldn't even accept an escalation clause, much less say a contingent on the sale. We haven't taken home inspections. We don't take appraisal contingencies. We don't take escalation clauses. Why? Sellers are in control. Now, I will guarantee you that we will still be in control. If you come to a Casey Samson listing, you're not going to buy that with a home sale contingency in most cases. Because now we know. I know. I got you. When I go to the seller, it's like, we'll put a house on for here and then do a predictive analysis and move it to here. We're starting here. Predictive analysis starts here. Because I'm not sure. I know this isn't here. Let's see if this one's here. If it's not, we're moving to here. Now we know. But as the market does this Titanic shift, It catches you off guard. When I was in the Marines, they said, don't worry about it. You'll never hear the bullet. I didn't even ask questions on that one, man. I'm like, he goes, hey, you'll never hear the bullet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, I guess that's the good news. Yeah. But in real estate, it's the same way. You never hear the bullet until it's already upon you, until the market's already upon you. And it snapped. It's on us. And I know it moves like a big ship, the Queen Elizabeth II trying to turn. I know it moves, but before you know it, I'll go into a thing, and a client was going to sell a $2.1 million house. He said, well, we wanted to talk to you, but we're thinking about our friend too. We want to give our friend. The friend has done one transaction in a year and a half. One. Now, let me tell you something. In this market where everybody's on the home, for the amount of money at stake when you sell a house at this level is about $250,000. That's what's at stake. At an $850,000 house, you're probably talking about $75,000 at stake. But guess what? That $75,000 at stake is more important to that seller than $2.5 million is to that seller. $50,000, $60,000, $75,000 is a critical number. So let's say I put my house on the market. I don't know the statistics. I don't know what happens. It sits, and all of a sudden it goes in. It's what I call the death spiral, the downward spiral. Instead of selling for $850, before I know it, it's going down to $8, maybe $775, $785. It's down in here. But if I went on at $800, I would have got $860. The difference between $860 and $780, I bet you that's about 80 grand. Now go to one of your clients. Think about your clients that are selling a house at $800,000, and think of what $80,000 means to that person. And that's the difference between doing it correctly and doing it poorly. It's the difference between knowing the market and not knowing the market. So I put this out to the agents and to the sellers and the buyers out there. If you are a 60 or 70 something seller, and those are my clients, yep, you're on the victory tour, but you have kids that are stuck in a house somewhere that have not been able to move up, and now they can move up. Tell them to take the $100,000 benefit that they got from buying it cheaper than they could have, buy the rate down for a point, get your loan into the fives, move into a house where you're getting $100,000 or $100,000. And again, I know that everybody's markets are different, so it's hard. I equate this to my markets, and I should equate it more to an 850 market, which is the average size of maybe a Samson Properties house, as opposed to a larger market. But it doesn't matter. It's all the same, right? If I'm with a buyer, so let's talk about this for a minute. So what sells? I mean, the 1 out of the 12. What really sells? If it's well priced, if you go in and the seller says, I don't want to paint, you say you're going to paint. The seller says, I don't want to change the lighting fixtures, we're going to change the lighting fixtures. The seller says, I'm not going to change the hardware, we're going to change the hardware. Because we're going to invest $10,000 in the house, and it's going to make us at least $100,000. So if you like $100,000, we're going to invest. We never talk about costs. We always talk about investment. The investment is $10,000. You're going to make $100,000. Now, when we price it, we have what we think, we have what we know. Well, this one's now gone. That's gone. We think we know. We think we know. You got to start here. Because I may have to go to the here. I may have to pull the ripcord and go to a lower number. And it's the only way to go up. So our average home sells $86,000 higher than its list price. So if you go here, it's going to end up here. And all the sellers know it. So if you could be smart and you invest 10 to make 100, and you price here so you can get to here, then we're all going to be fine. Then we'll be the one. And we'll still have control because everybody else is doing what? They're pricing up here. They're not even testing it. They don't even test it. They're just putting it on the market. None of this. I'm going to speak to the coaches of Samson Properties at 1 o'clock. and I am going to hammer home that this pricing strategy must be test here, move here if you have to. But now that's gone. You got to test here and be prepared to move here to get here. Does everybody understand that? I mean, my whole crux is I have these people, we just put on eight people on my team, and they've been in coaching, but they're all coming to me with properties that are listing that was 900,000, which should have been 850. Did you test it? No. Did you do a predictive analysis? No. Well, now you're in the mud, because now you're one of the 12, right? Now you're one of the 12 that's not selling. Now you're stuck in the mud. Well, now what are you going to do, right? So again, if we go back to that 30 days ago or 60 days ago, we would have said, let's test 900, let's get to 850, and let's sell from there, right? That's the logical way that everybody should be doing things, but not today. Today, we're going to test 850 just to make sure everybody's at 850, because things are moving down. And again, you've got to go to your seller with the document I'm looking at right now, and in whatever format you have, however you want to translate it or send it to them, you need to say, there are 8 houses on the market and 1 went under contract. The buyers have control. We need to not think about this. We need to put it here to make sure the market is still here. The buyers have control of our market. Now, if I go in and 12 houses went under contract and 2 are active, I'm going at this number, right? I'm going here. So this is why the statistics of how is the market doing? Are we in control? Are they in control? I think I identified there's hundreds of thousands of markets. A townhouse between 500 and 700 in Arlington, that's a market. There's hundreds, thousands of markets out there. So you've got to look at the one market you're dealing with, a $1.2 million house in Arlington. And in that market, are we in control or are the buyers in control? You must know what percentage of homes are on the market and what went under contract in the last 30 days. Because, I'll get to you just one sec. And what happened in the last 30 days? Because that's how fast markets change. 30 days, right? That gives us a good sampling, and I can predict what's going to happen in the future by what just happened in the last 30 days and make my corrections there. Yes, we got crossed up. Yes. But I'll tell you how it started. We had buyers and we submitted contracts contingent on the sale of their home, and they took it. And that's why it's like, wait a minute, what? What happened? And then I start hearing that we had some of those. I'm like, what the hell's going on out here? Seismic change, 12-1. Oh my God, 8%, 52 days on market. Guess what's going out tomorrow morning? 8,000 cards to everybody that owns a certain size house in our area that wants to move up. 8,000 of them. Thank you, Samson Properties, for having great rates on sending out cards. Thank you, Julie, for being a freaking knockdown expert on creating these cards. And let me tell you something. All this is market, message, and delivery system. The message is you can now move up. It is now safe in some markets to go ahead and move up contingent on the sale of your home. Market. Anybody that's got a 2,000 to 2,500 square foot home when the rest of the market's 3,500, that's your market. What's your message? 65-cent card from Samson Properties. Go ahead.
Clarify something for me, Casey. You said under contract divided by the number of active is going to give us a percentage. So the high number, which one is the buyer's market? Which one's the seller market?
Okay. The more homes that are under contract, that's your seller's market. So let's take my math. I said there's 12 homes that are active and 1 went under contract in the last 30 days. So the total number is 13 homes. So 1 divided by 13 is 8%, or should be 8%. Blame it on Excel if it's not 8%, but it should be. So you take the total amount of homes and that have been under contract of 30 days and active, And that group in the last 30 days, if 1 out of 13 went under contract, we're at 8%. If that number is 65%, you got a seller's market. I would say anything over 50% is a seller's market, and I'll tell you why. I think most realtors do not prepare homes correctly and do not price them correctly. If that makes sense. So let's talk about the process. I would immediately get on the phone with every person that I know and say, it's time. For the first time in 4.5 years, everybody that's stuck, our job as realtors, right? Our job as realtors is to help people in need. Got a divorce, I got to sell my house. I'm going to make sure you get the most money in the house. I'm not on your side or your side. I'm on the side of the house. I'm going to make sure the most money we can get out of this house goes into whatever fund you guys want to pay the attorneys, right? That's who's going to get it all anyways. So I'm just here to make sure that house gets as much money as possible. Oh my God, I lost my job, foreclosure. Settle down. I'm going to call the bank. I got it. You're going to be under contract in 4 days. It's all stopped. We'll get this thing done and get it out of here. See, our job is to help people, right? I got a couple with 2 kids, maybe 3 now, in a 2,000 square foot house that's busting at the seams. And they can't move up because they got to sell this to buy that. They don't have a mom sitting there going, I'll give you $2 million, buy whatever you want, and you'll sell this later. We don't have that. A lot of us don't have that. The big buyer pool doesn't have that. They got to sell this in order to get that. And either the wife or the husband or one of the people that are selling the house has no risk tolerance whatsoever. I don't know if it's and again, I don't care. Whoever's selling the house, somebody doesn't have any risk tolerance. Somebody's going, I'm not selling this until I have a home that I know I'm moving into. But you can't find the home you're moving into because you can't buy it non-contingent. You can't buy it contingent. Now you can. Now I can satisfy both. And what we would do when you're working this as a realtor, you would go into the home. Oh, we don't want a contingent. I know you don't want it, but 12 houses are on the market, only one's under contract. So let's do it this way. Your market, only 8% is going under contract. Does everybody know to make it sick, make them well, right? So when we're presenting the contracts, like only 8% of your house went under contract. The average days on market is 52. Most of these are going to withdraw unsold. Agent. Now, the market I'm selling in, like I showed you, there's 2 markets here. The market for the smaller market that I'm selling out of, 60% of them are under contract. So you are in a buyer's market over 1.8. I would be selling in a seller's market. And by the way, here's our track record that we've done 70 million. It's average days on market of 4 days. Trust me. Here's the price on the house. Here's the marketing strategy. Here's everything we're going to do. I'm going to sell this house in 4 days. Now we can move up. It's good for everybody. It's good for mom. It's good for dad. You know why? They're trying to get their kids to buy a house close to them so they can see the kids. Maybe they're coming from North Carolina or South Carolina. I don't know where they're coming from. But they can't move in because they got something to sell. So our job is to solve people's problems. So if I can get that person that's stuck in the 2,000 can convince a seller that's in a buyer's market that you really do need to buy this. And by the way, this is what the house is worth. I know you've got it on for this, but it's really worth this. It's not worth that. So we're not trying to shortcut you. We're not trying to, I do pricing models all day long. It's like, look, I'm not trying to rip you off. Your house is only worth $1.2 million. It ain't worth 1.35. It's worth 1.2. And by the way, only 1 out of 12 houses under contract. Make them sick. Now, here's what we're going to do. My client's going to put contract in on yours. I'm immediately putting this under contract. Under market. We've already done the painting, the this, the that. It's perfectly prepared. Its pictures are gorgeous. Here's its pricing model. It says it's worth 1.25. I'm putting it on for 1.15. I'm going to generate multiple contracts. Wherever it ends up, it ends up. And I'm putting it on for 1.15. and we're going to rocket that thing. And I guarantee you, we'll be on the doorstep with a check, settling on this house in 45 days. Because my house is saleable and yours is not. You're $150,000 over market value on a buyer's in a buyer's market. Mine's 50,000 under where it could be, where I think the price is going to end up. It's 50,000 under where it could be, and I'm in a seller's market. Trust me. Mine's going to sell a lot quicker than yours. And your house is only worth this amount of money, and that's what we're going to pay. Solve the problem. Not only do we solve the problem for the buyers, we solve the problem for the sellers, because maybe the seller's agent either couldn't or wouldn't price it correctly, or the seller's agent really did know what to price it correctly, but the seller was holding out for a higher number. So what I'm going to do is we're going to prove that that price is what I say it is, and that's what you're going to settle on, right? So the seller, all they really needed was a clear picture of what exactly is this house worth. We're going to tell you. Sellers really don't want more than it's worth, and buyers don't want to pay more than it's worth. So the real question that everybody has is, what the hell is it worth? I'm going to tell you exactly what it's worth. Based on the comparables, based on the market conditions, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's worth. Okay? Yeah.
So Casey, when you test the market, so you go in a particular city, zip code, or neighborhood, how are you going to say this many under contract, this many active, this many pending? So
Right.
What is your radius? Like you go zip code, you go city, you go in neighborhood.
Sure. So markets are, if lots are small, it's 1 mile. If lots are big, half acre, it's 2 miles. Okay? We only look at the homes. So let's say the house is $1.3 million your estimated value. So I'd go from 1.1 million to 1.5 million. And so within a 1 mile radius or 2 mile radius, depending on, so in Nokesville, I have to go 5 miles, 5 mile radius. So it depends on the size of the lots, right? In Arlington, 1 mile radius, right? Vienna, 1 mile radius. Bigger lots, Willisford, 2 mile radius.
If 800,000 property and quarter acre land, so we can go 5 mile?
I'm sorry?
If the lot is quarter acre,
Yeah.
and the property value around 750, 800, so how far we should go?
I'd go a mile. Let me tell you how I do it. So first I go age and size. So give them everything. Let's say it's a 2,500 square foot house. Give me everything from 2,000 square foot to 3,000 square foot. It was built in 1978. Give me everything from 1968 to 1988. That's my market. Let's say I have 3 houses in that market. Shit, I got to expand. So I'll start expanding. All right, give me 1.5 miles. 5. All right, give me 2 miles. All right, 12. Got it. I'm looking for anything over 10. Anything over 10. So I will start here, and I'll start expanding first on area, then on size and age. And then that's the first model that we do. The second model is, this says, based on age and size, it says it's worth $1 million. Let's say it's worth $800,000. Fine. Give me everything between $700,000 and $900,000. In the same region, 1 mile, give me everything between $700,000 and $900,000. Well, I don't have that much. Give me everything from $675,000 to $950,000. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Up 12, that's good. That's what I want. I'm just looking for critical mass. So that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you, Casey. One more question. So when we testing a property, let's say for 7 days in a coming soon,
Yeah.
and then how many favorites should be there to my
Yeah.
price, correct?
Yeah. Good question. So it depends on the house. Let's say I have a house that looks better in person than it does online, okay? Let's say the lot is spectacular, and when they get here, they're going to love it. I don't need as many people in that house as I do. We got some warts. The functionality isn't as good as it should be. The closets are small. 66 is behind you. So I need a lot more people coming to that house. So the answer is, normally I would want at least 8 showings people that have registered a showing by Wednesday of when I launch. So let's say I'm going to launch at $1.4 million. I have no showings, none. We're going to 1.3. We're going to adjust to 1.3. We're not even in the frickin' ballpark. So then let's say I get 2 showings. We're going to 1.35. We're close, but we're not there yet. Let's get to 1.35 and let it rock. So the answer is I'm looking for at least 6 to 8 showings, depending on the quality of the house that I'm trying to show. If there are warts, I need more. So how many favorites are there? You know, we're looking for 5, looking for 6, maybe in the hit counter. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for people. And then sometimes the buyer pool is just too small. Nobody's coming, nobody's online looking at it. Like I normally get 150 people go to these custom websites I built, but let's say there's only 60. It's like, and 2 people are coming. It's like, look, there's only 60 people in this buyer pool. We got to get to a bigger buyer pool. So the reason why I focus on where's the buyer pool, not what's the price, is where are the buyers? When the buyer walks in the door, they'll tell you what the value is going to be. They'll bid it up. So I'm not interested. I'm just trying to get close. I'm trying to find the buyer pool to the closest point to where I think it's going to sell for. I'm trying to get within $50,000. Now, our average house sells at $86,000 over list price. So if I think it's 135, can I get to 135 from 1.3? Yes. Well, 1.299 is a massive buyer pool. Let's just sit at 1.299. Before, again, I keep going back to market conditions, I would have tested 1.35. Gone. Let's test 1.3. Let's make sure they're here. Let's just go with the safe bet. And in order to determine where you're going to start and test, you really need to know your market conditions at the time.
So when you do a second testing, so first testing happen when it's coming soon. Right?
Yeah.
When you do second
There is
testing,
no second test. You only get one shot,
yes,
babe.
Got it.
You got one shot. That's why this up here, gone. Because I'm not sure that's where it is. Right? So if I go here and I test at 135, I know for no question in my mind at 1.299 will sell this house and get it sold, no problem. I'm not sure about that anymore. That house just fell $140,000, $150,000 under what I thought it was. So I'm not sure. The market's too soft in some areas, not Haymarket. Haymarket, I'm Johnny still, hey, grip it and rip it, man. Go with that number that you're still hot. And we're here or here, or we know we're here. But in a soft market, I'm not even sure we're here. We got to test the smaller number. Very, very, very important. That's all I'm going to talk about to these coaches. You've got to tell the Samson agents that you need a range. You got to start at the smaller range. You have to go 7 days on the market, and you need to test the coming soon. And if it's not there, you need to have the guts to tell the seller, I highly recommend you move down. Now, and you got to look at your own track record. I go to the seller, and I say, look at the people that went from 2.5 to 2.25 and then sold for 2.5. We never would have got 2.5 if we went there because there was no market. And the seller looks at us and says, hey, man, you're going to drop this thing $250,000? You said it was worth 2.5. I said, it is. Or it was. But that's not where the buyer pool is. The buyer pool over $2 million is at $2 million, 2.15, 2.25, and 2.5. The next closest buyer pool from 2.5 is 2.25. We got to get there. So we went down there. I settled today at 3 o'clock, 2.5 million. 2.5 million. The builder laughed at me. Pat Stack, Jefferson Homes, laughed at me. His agent, what? What? I should have got a few beers out of this. In fact, I'm going to find Pat and go, hey, man, I sold your house for 2.5 million. I need a few beers out of this. I should not pay for Vienna Inn beers for a while. Shit. Should have cut that deal. He called me up and goes, what are you doing? 2.5, what are you doing? I think that's what it's worth, man. I should have said, hey, if I get that, what? I'm not as good a negotiator as I thought I was. So anyways, that is what's happening in the market. That's the seismic changes. We've just released a massive part of the market. The realtors need to change their strategies and help the people that have been stuck in a 2,000 square foot house for the last 4.5 years. That's our job. And that puts the market in motion. That gets more transactions. That gets everything rolling again. And take the money that you're saving from the drop in price and value, tack $20,000, buy the rate down, full, not an adjustable rate for a year or two, because I don't know what's going on with the frickin' government or what's happening, so nobody knows. Just buy it to 5.75. You can live with that. 5.5. Just buy it down to 5.5. If you have to wait 5 years, then you wait 5 years to refinance. But if you get that adjustable rate, and before you know it, you're finding yourself at 6.75 in a year or two, then it's like, and you can't refinance. Just buy it down. Buy it down 1 point. All the smart financing people say, just buy it down 1 point. It's going to cost maybe 2% of the loan amount. Jack it onto the price. Have a seller concession to buy the rate down. I would have come in at 1.3, but I'm coming in at 1.32 because I want $20,000 to buy the rate down for me. Get a good lender. Get a good lender. I'm going to tell you this. I'm just putting this out there. We have a house, and we try, right, and get our terms in our contracts, right? Our terms means you've got to use Cardinal Title. Because I tell you that other title insurance companies, we have had bad experiences. We have good experiences with Cardinal. We get everything done early, and we're done. Last month, we found out we had a cloud on a title from another title company, and we found out a day before settlement. Do you know when we find out from Cardinal? The second we list the house. We know plenty of time to fix it. We have a settlement that's going down, and it's going down very shortly, and we just found out that the lender's been out of town for a long period of time. He never got the CD. They're not going to closing on this. Wait, what? Our lender's name is Mike Filan, and he is awesome. And if anybody needs a good lender, then you should get in touch with us, and we'll put you in touch with a good lender. There are plenty of great lenders at First Heritage. They are awesome. They support Samson Properties. But if you don't have your in-house mortgage company and use Cardinal Title, you are putting your clients at risk. My name is Casey Samson. You've been listening to Coffee with Casey. We come to you every Thursday at 10:30. Share market information. Today we shared that there's a seismic change in the real estate market. It's released a massive buyer pool that is only in certain markets, so you need to be able to test the market, which I went over today. Hopefully that helps. If you need me, I'm at Casey at CaseySamson.com, or you can check out all our stuff at CaseySamson.com. My number is 703-508-2535. We'll see you again next week. Bye now.